It's like clouds obscuring the sun. Our nature is the sun. The clouds, that's our work. Attentioning those clouds to clear them away and liberate the experience of this beautiful inherent divine self. So that's what we're going to do together. Carol said to mention how I got this gift of being able to turn to divine guidance. I had a lot of food allergies. I was constantly being muscle tested to see what I could or couldn't eat. One day, no one was around. I said, there must be some way I can test myself, and spontaneously my neck went like that. And that was a yes-no signal, just given to me. I've helped, God, probably thousands of people develop their own yes-no signal. And it often doesn't just show up like that. That was an incredible piece of grace. It was and is the basis of the work that I do, because I don't do it. I turn to divine guidance to tell me what to do at every step of the way. And I think that's what makes it powerful. So we are about to jump in and do a couple, depending on time, 2, 3 if there's time, of these clearings to release the past and liberate the self. Now, in this first one, I'm going to invite you to type in words of emotions that are stuck in the system. There'll be, with regard to fear in the current situation, there'll probably be 40% of that fear that is essential for your vigilance. But 60% of it is probably from childhood and hasn't been cleared out. We want that 40%. That's adult fear. We don't want the fear from the past, that's stuck and retained emotions. So I'm going to do a visualization because the subconscious can't tell the difference between real and imagined. And if you give me words such as dread and frustration, I will be calling them out and inviting them to be flushed out of this process that I call the vat. So imagine, dear friends, and you might like to close your eyes, but it's not essential, that you're standing in a vat of liquid. And this liquid is frustration, unworthiness, rejection, fear, sadness, stifledness, helplessness, dread, feeling second best. And what I'm going to ask you to do, unworthiness, is imagine that this vat is filled with a liquid that holds the feeling that you're most aware of. But we're also calling out everyone's, as we did, and so as to do not only a specific clearing, but a general clearing. Give it a color, make it real for yourself, this emotion that is the dominant emotion for you. Feel it. Don't be afraid of it, because what you can feel, you can heal. Feel it. Now there is a button on the inside of your vat. And if you push that button, the vat will start emptying out that liquid, releasing the emotion. In other words, you're just telling the unconscious what you're wanting it to do through the visualization. And it's even more powerful because it has an emotion that makes it even more real, not just in the head. And it will start draining out and going into the earth, which will gladly receive this energy, because the earth transmutes energy, poop into flowers. It will take your discharge happily, gladly, and turn it into life force to support the planet. There we go. Now I can feel it moving. That's it. It's safe to let it go. You'll still have enough of it to be vigilant, but you won't be overwhelmed, because the overwhelm is from the past. There we go. In the present moment, God is giving us everything that we need to deal with our now. But if we have our intuition, this divine guidance covered over by fear or shame or doubt, we don't hear well. We don't get the message. Let it go. That's it. Good. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. About 80% gone. Imagine that it's maybe down to your knees. Keep letting it go. There's nothing in this energy that you need to be yourself. It's just convincing you emotionally that you are not yourself. You are some limited version of yourself. Let it go. There we go. Draining out the bottom, if you would imagine that. Now imagine that God flushes out the vat with this beautiful white light, cleaning the sides and any clothes you're wearing or your body. And when all that's gone, the sides of the vat fall away and the earth swallows them up. And I invite you to imagine that you step off the drain and onto the grass, the beautiful, beautiful, natural experience of grass and sun, a safe place. You're the most beautiful place in nature you can imagine. And as you feel it, imagine the sun is shining down on you. And this sun is giving you this healing energy, this warmth, this life force, this goodness abundantly. Notice that it is unconditional sunlight. You don't have to do anything for it but be. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about the future. It just loves you now. It asks for nothing. It gives you everything. It is a perfect description of God's love for you right now. Right now, God is loving you abundantly with no judgment. Your past is of no consequence to sunlight. It doesn't compare you. It just gives you everything. And all you have to do is not put your umbrella up or go indoors. Just let it in. Just receive the grace of God's love right now, just as you are. It is an enormous come as you are party. There we go. There we go. Now, you're looking around in this beautiful place in nature, and you see in front of you a stream. Walk over this soft, beautiful grass. Smell the wildflowers. Hear the breeze in the trees. Feel the warmth. Bring as many of your senses to the experience of walking to the stream as you can. The body is in the present moment. As you give yourself to the experience through your senses, with conscious awareness, it brings you into the now. You may notice that if you were feeling any of those words that I called out, that you may not feel them at all in the present moment, or if you do, they're muted. Walk to the stream. This stream comes from a hot springs upstream, and it is healing energy, purification, life force. Slip into the stream wearing whatever is comfortable. Feel the warmth, feel the healing, feel the grace. And let the stream now carry out of you any more of that word that you started with in the vat. Maybe we're already to the next layer, or the next layer, or many layers at once. Surrender it to the stream. Oh, I can feel it pulling stuff out. Now, I'm feeling some stuff in the stomach area for some people. This is not your emotion. This is someone else's emotion that you've ingested. This is carried emotion. It doesn't need to be there because it doesn't help them, but it limits you, constricts you. Imagine that you could open up as if you were hinged and ask God to vacuum out this person or that person's or anyone's fear or dread or sorrow that is not yours, that you're carrying unconsciously or consciously, and transmute it because it doesn't help that person and it constricts and limits you, prevents you from knowing who you are in your relationship with God in this moment in authenticity. Let it go. Let that space fill with light. And take a deep breath. And do what I call a sigh of relief. So your body knows that something just happened. Nice. Lovely. Now come out of the stream. Notice an expandedness within you. This expandedness in this moment feels like love, wishing to be shared with the whole world, wanting to emanate not only from you and through you, but by you. And so allow this love, this care, this unconditional respect, this unconditional warmth to shine out of you. Start with the room that you're in. Go to the house and everyone in the house, shining to the whole town or city, shining to the state, shining out to the US, shining out to the world. There is within every one of us unlimited love because we are not the creator of love. We are just the channel through which it passes. We are the banks of that stream. God is that holy water that moves through it. Finding this relief within ourselves, we share it with the world. And so we ask that this first clearing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions, throughout the hologram of life and existence. And so it is.
And so it is.
Ooh, that was nice. I like that one.
So can we rest here for a couple of seconds? And
let's do that. Any comments? I'm looking at any experiences that you had you can sort of put on the comment page so I know how this is landing for people.
frustration gone. I'll read some of them for those of you on the phones that can't see. Wonderful. Thank you. Brilliant clearing. Peaceful.
Wonderful.
I love the river. Feeling the love. Perfect. Lightened and alive. Very nice and effective. I feel it. Gentle healing. Beautiful. Tears flowing. Sun shining.
Wonderful.
Solar plexus softening.
Yes, I could feel people had other people's energy in their solar plexus. All right, does anyone want to stretch or get a sip of water before we jump into the next clearing?
I can do both. We are the banks of the river of God's love. Let it flow through.
Amen.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do our next clearing, and let's see what guidance wants to do. All right. So we're going to go back to childhood to pick up some of those wounds that we pushed into the unconscious because we couldn't deal with them at the time. When we do inner child work, I often hear people say, oh, but that was 50, 60, 30 years ago. Just get over it. It doesn't work that way. Whatever you put in your basement 30, 40, 60 years ago, if you didn't take it out, it's still there. You don't get over it by pretending that it's not there. You get over it by bringing it the love and the attention and the truth that it needs to dissolve, to stop existing in the story of our own creation in our unconscious, our own story from the past that isn't who we are in the present moment. We're just undoing that identity based on our past history, because the whole process of enlightenment is stepping away from that identity, finding the identity of who we are as God knows us to be in the present moment, and experiencing that as our primary identity. So this is enlightenment work. It can be emotional. I often say in my private sessions, I should charge by the Kleenex rather than the hour.
And you deserve all of it.
So please feel free to let the emotion come up and move through you. The emotion is what got stuck. And we have spent lifetime trying to avoid that emotion through distraction, through addiction, through you name it. It'll never work because it glues us to the past and makes us think we are that person that we were when we were 4 or 6 or 8. and we're not. We are who we are when we stand in the light. You are who you are standing in the present moment, in the light, with God's love shining on us. That's who we are, not who we were when we were 4 or 6 or 8. Okay?
Okay.
Take 3 slow and deep breaths, activating the autonomic nervous system, activating a mini meditation. Lovely. So I'm asking guidance. Give us a limited belief that we felt when we were a child that is still part of our active software of the unconscious, that we can, as a group, clear away and let go. And so I'm just taking a minute to hear what that might be. Okay, so what I hear is who I am is not enough. Who I am is not enough. It's sort of funny in the sense that for once the ego got it right. The ego isn't enough because it's not who we are. But the way it looks at it is not that. It's constantly needing to prove itself, to be seen as lovable, to be seen as powerful, to defend itself because of its belief of its not enoughness. So as we reduce our identification with not enoughness, we will increase our identification with our true and divine self, which is divine, which is the totality of enoughness. All right, so let's see how we're supposed to do this. The average age that we're going to work with is about 5. Many of us will not remember what it was like at 5. Most people can remember certain challenges. Some people just have a gloss over it and remember everything is perfect. I've never seen that to be true when we dove in. So even if you had what seemed like a perfect set of parents, there would have been times at school when you didn't get 100, when you weren't top of the class. Most of us have deep challenges and wounds from our childhood experience. Whatever you can find is what we're going to work with. Tune in to that little boy or girl who's holding this feeling of I am not enough, and imagine her or him sitting on his or her bed alone in a room, holding this feeling, this active feeling within the child of not enoughness, and use that feeling and that not enoughness to imagine the posture of that child sitting on the bed. Now imagine that you are looking into that room with the child, and child is probably slumped, maybe chin down. Some of our children will be hiding under the bed or in the closet or under the sheets. Wherever it is, look into the room and you can see the child wherever she or he is. Now, the trick to make this work is to find within yourself unconditional love. You may not feel it for the child, especially if the child is angry or hurt. Doesn't matter. You just have to get to love. So maybe you're a parent, maybe you can remember watching your child sleep. Somehow it's a little easier to feel that total flow of unconditional love when there's a sleeping child. Maybe it's your dog. Maybe it's your partner, your spouse. Maybe it's when you're doing your ministry. Find that feeling within you. And if it's not for a person, it's not a problem. If it's for an animal, it's not a problem. If it's not for that, find it for something in nature, a flower, a tree. Connect to that feeling because that's what's going to do the work. And shine that feeling on the child. Now, one of the tests to make sure is that you find yourself shining caring on that child, that you care about their welfare and well-being. Another test is when you feel this caring, could you intentionally harm? You couldn't harm the child and care at the same moment. And probably you have certainty on that. Good indication that what's flowing is the God energy, the unconditional love. Go into the room. Carry that love, that energy, and say to the child, I have come to love you. I have come to be present with you. Sit on the bed and take a minute and just shine that love on that child, that caring, that inability to do harm. You may feel, I'm feeling it now, that this flow is very uplifting, enlivening, expansive. And now I'm feeling it, it's so big and wide, I'm not shining it, it's just shining and I happen to be present in the stream of the shine. You may find that experience helps you as well, but it doesn't have to. It just needs to be how God shines love through you that's important. Say to the child, I have come to look out for you, to love you, to be on your side. And this is really important. Say to the child, it wasn't the person playing the role of your mother or father or sibling. It wasn't their job to love you 24/7. They couldn't. They might not have even been able to love you at all with whatever is going on for them. It wasn't their job. God or love has sent me to you. I am the one who is meant to give you that love that you didn't get in childhood, that you didn't get in the past, and give it to you forever. So shine that love on the child and say, I am you grown up. That's why it's my job. See if the child will let you come close. Maybe the child wants to be in your lap or hold your hand or have your arm around them. And if the child doesn't, that's great. That will prove to the child that they can be exactly as they are and still be loved. So whatever the child does or doesn't do, just extend that love. Imagine spending a day with that child, just extending this love throughout the whole day, irrespective of how they look, how they perform, what they do. Just letting love flow through you to them. This is the antidote. An understanding that it wasn't supposed to come from their parents, so they can release blame, so they can release the idea that if they were just this or that, then their parents would love them. If they were just more of this or more of that, if they were just enough, it never would have happened 24/7, because you are the delivery system they've been waiting for. You are allowing God's love to be targeted right into a part of your nervous system that had walled itself off from love, but now is being healed. Imagine spending a week giving this child this love. Doesn't really matter what you do. Just keep extending the love for the whole week at every moment. Now, some of us experienced a lot of fear, abuse. Tell the child, no one will ever abuse you ever again. Now you can tell the child that, and it is truthful, because this child is just one moment of your past. And when this moment is healed, as it will be, I suspect, in a couple of minutes, it just becomes part of your awakened heart, of your awakened consciousness. It no longer is a bubble called itself an inner child moment. It's just being. So nothing could ever harm that child again. It only lives in your unconscious as a moment of the past. There are many such moments, and there were later moments in your life where you were abused or hurt, perhaps, but not this moment. So you are not lying. You are telling the truth. It is the truth necessary for this part of you to hear, to relax, to let you surround them with walls that cannot be breached if there is violence, abuse. And your love is there, protecting them. Now, I'm told to invite anyone who had a very difficult time to multiply the loving you, that adult that's bringing love, by 100, and form a circle around the child. 100 safe, full loving adults surrounding the child, holding hands. This circle is now so filled with love that if the people playing the role of your parents were to walk into it with a negative, harmful intent, the love would be so powerful, 100 to 1, they'd turn around and walk right out. But if they were being nice, they would be welcomed in, which means that this child who you are protecting will never be hurt by them or anyone else, because you are going to stay with that child until it awakens to your true identity, to your best self. Awesome. And imagine 6 months go by. How you do that is you just feel the love. That's everything. But imagine 6 months of that love with no abuse, no hurt. You're growing yourself up as separate from the rest of you. This is a part of yourself that is healing and is awakening. Imagine what this part would be like, loved and protected for 5 years, not any harm, just allowed to blossom and awaken and develop and be who they are year after year. Imagine what they would be like at 15 or 16. They would attract different people into their lives. This part of you is going to have a completely different life. Marry different people, have different kids. It is a different facet of the diamond of yourself. Just let it blossom as your imagination helps it grow. What would this part be like at 20? You're there, honoring, supporting, helping that part grow. What would this part be like at 30 and 40 and 50? Now, tuning into this part that just grew up, there are probably words like expanded, joyful, safe, happy, capable, confident. Those are the words that often show up when we do this. And what I would say to you now is look at this part that you just grew up. And ask this part if it feels like it's not enough. Or does it feel stable, solid? And that thought just doesn't enter its mind. That's what it feels like when I read it in the field of our group. It just doesn't enter its mind. There's just peace. There's just doing what needs to be done. And so I would say to you, what you're looking at is an aspect of your best self, freed from the cloud of that limitation, of this limiting belief, liberated to be who you are. And you are who you are when you stand in the light. And so we ask that this healing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions throughout the hologram of life and existence. That is to say, through every part and particle of our being. And so it is.
And so it is.
Love to hear if there are any comments before we go on. If you want to type something in, just so I can get a feel how people are receiving it. Calm and peaceful. Thank you. Sorry, Janet, you're having trouble with your sound. Michael's feeling loved.
Marvelous, loved, floating, unconditional love, loved, radiating the same.
Awesome.
Very powerful. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great.
Loved, lovely, strong clearing. Thank you. Huge amount of warmth within my heart. Confident, centered, light.
Awesome. All right. I hope it's not too much to do one more. Is that okay? Shake your head yes if you're up for it. Okay.
Enveloped in light.
Okay.
Nice to have the opportunity to heal something I didn't know was there.
Lovely. We're going to do one more, helping again with the fear, the worry, the overwhelm that exists in the world. Knowing that we have to stay vigilant, but not panicked. Caring, but not so overwhelmed that we can't even feel. So, in this final clearing, again, take 3 breaths, slow and steady, doing a mini meditation. And in this final clearing in our remaining little time, we're going to clear through the body. So I'm going to ask you, the clearing is around fear and overwhelm. Where in your body do you feel the fear and overwhelm the most? Maybe it's your gut, maybe your throat, maybe it's your whole body. Wherever you feel it, I'd like you to imagine that that's a room. So if you feel it in the gut, it's the room of your gut. And you're not in the room, you're looking in. Now, as you look into the room, use your imagination, your felt sense. What does it look like in the room of fear and overwhelm? It could look like black energy. It could look like a spasm. It could look like a scared child. It could look like a monster. It could look like anything. If you can't find anything, if your mind doesn't give itself to that kind of visualization, look at it as contraction in the room, just the energy of tightness in that part of your body. Now, looking in from outside, find that same part of you, your best self, that can love unconditionally. Whether it's for an animal or a person or nature, find that feeling and then pivot and direct that energy into the room. That's, in this moment, how God flows through you the best. No judgment to it. You just want God flowing through you in whatever form of kindness, caring, attention. Now, say to what's ever in the room, you have the right to feel what you feel and still be loved. You have the right to feel what you feel and still be loved. Otherwise, it's not God energy. It's not unconditional. It doesn't work. So giving it the right to be tight, dark, gives it the right to receive just as it is. Beautiful. Keep sending that right to receive just as it is into the room. Now, if we were working individually, I'd work with each one of you as to what's happening in your room. But in this group setting, we'll just go with the feelings that show up in my mind and body. And that is that contraction is loosening, that whatever you saw is becoming fainter or contracting. Sorry. So go into the room and bring the love into the room. I'm right here, you say to it, to love you exactly as you are, to protect you exactly as you are. You don't have to change unless you want to. Now, the arms and hands are the extension of the heart. Send out your energy, arms and hands, to surround what's in the room, but not touch it. And start radiating it 360 degrees with love. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Yes. Imagine that what is surrounded by your arms is getting smaller or lighter, and you can bring your arms more and more into your heart chakra. Yes, I'm right here, you say to it. I'm not going away. You have the right to be exactly as you are and still be loved. You have a right to be afraid. You have a right to be overwhelmed and have someone protect you and take over. You have a right to be exactly as you are and have me here and have God here and be loved and be safe. And as you bring that energy in, take your physical hands and hug yourself as if you were hugging that energy. Bring it into your heart. I've got you right here. It's okay. We're together now. We'll never have to be apart. I love you just as you are. Excellent. And so we ask that this healing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions, throughout the hologram of life and existence. And so it is.
So it is.
Taking a little time before opening your eyes. I hope you felt supported in that. If it triggered something for you and you need a little support, you can text me, you can call me. Glad to help you if something got triggered. Again, my number, maybe you could put it on the screen if it's not there, Jerry, is 831-277-8242. So if you need a little support, if you feel like you got left someplace that needs a little attention, just call me. I'd be
You
glad
can
to.
also look at the website essentialpathways.com. So many beautiful things there for us, or make an appointment with Rick for an individual session. It's terrific, as you can tell. I'd like to also mention, Jerry, because we weren't recording at the beginning, that this is the ANTN, the Affiliated New Thought Network speaker series. This is the Reverend Dr. Rick Moss, who has been doing these clearings, and his website is essentialpathways.com. If you'd like to make a contribution to ANTN, why, we're at newthought.org. Happy to have that as well. And it feels so much like, there is a power greater than we are and we can use it. And we have just done that, or allowed that, or invited that.
Yeah.
Your healings, your clearings are on that multi-dimensional, multi-level plane of existence. Plane is the wrong word. Well, I don't know what the words are there. So, but it's beautiful and deep. And just wonderful things here. Thank you, Dr. Rick. Also, huge thanks to ANTN for your offerings and leadership. Blessings to you all.
Deb sent a question, where do we find recorded series? If you're meaning
this, I think.
My sessions, I have 15 one-hour sessions that you can find at the store at my website, if that's what you were meaning.
You can also go on the ANTN website, newthought.org. Give me just a couple of days and the recording will be posted on our YouTube channel. And there is a link on our homepage to get to that. Or you can go right to YouTube. Great. It's ANTN, ANTN members and friends.
ANTN members and friends for the YouTube channel. Some of the other speaker series from the past have been are up there as well. Right. And Martha Creek will be with us next in April for this series. So I'm just, it feels beautiful and like exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So this, if each thing we do individually is our gift to the collective, this has been a big and beautiful gift. And I thank you very much.
Thank you all. And I see Joanna's there. Hi, Joanna. Love you. Hi, Carla. Love you. All my friends from.
Would you like to do a closing prayer, Rick? And then Jerry can unmute us and these friends can say hi. If that's.
I think I'd love for you guys to do that. I think.
Okay, that's fine. You and I, Jerry, your choice.
Go right ahead.
In this beautiful room, in this field of energy, of love, of light, knowing that each one of us is that prayer, is that gift, is that place where this limitless love, this infinite light, this peace that is beyond all human understanding, but is the truth of each of us, flows. I give thanks for this coming together. I give thanks for these clearings. I give thanks for the sure and certain knowledge that the activity of God unfolds through each of us. I give thanks for all that is.
Amen.
So it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rick, so very much. Thank you, Carol.
We'll look forward to hearing and to seeing all, and maybe we can gather end of September, early October. We'll see.